Let's go. Oh, oh shit. Woo. And we're back in the hot seat.
Hello.
Hello.
What's your name?
Welcome back. Welcome back to the new episode of the Split Shift Pod. My name is Dan,
My name is Jamie.
and we're here to cut through the bullshit and the noise of the fitness industry.
Yes? Yes, we are. I hope you enjoyed last week's episode. We were chatting a lot about failure, why you are a failure, why Dan's a failure, why I'm a failure. Everybody's failures.
Everyone's a failure.
And we just had a little chat about how to deal with that because it's inevitable and you don't want it to ruin your results.
Correct. We're just doing life. We're just doing life.
How do you do in life and trying to help you do life a little bit better every single week? Don't mind me. I'm just trying to adjust my microphone. I also did have a review about the chess game.
Okay.
So, idea.
All right.
Bear with me here. We start a chess game today and we leave it on the same,
Okay.
like with the same moves.
Okay.
We finish, we whatever we get today, we just leave it there and we continue it next episode. So by the end of the season, we have to finish that shit.
Okay.
Would you like that?
You keen for that?
You like that?
I'm keen for that.
I'm keen for that too.
I feel like because we're actually going to get through at least more than 3 moves each.
I think so. We're getting worse and worse. So if we continue it, I feel like it'd be more exciting to watch because really, I know that's what everybody comes for at the end of the day.
Yeah, not the information. It's the chess game.
Except if you're on Spotify.
Then I don't know what they're there for. Just our voices, maybe.
Who knows? Oh,
They're testy pops. They're there for the testy pops.
I think so.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Anyway,
shoot your shot.
Let's
What
do
are
this.
you chatting about today, bro?
am I hitting the first question?
You got the first cue.
Dude, let's go. All right. So as usual, we're going to be asking each other some core questions. I'm assuming yours would be very relevant to what your clients have spoken about. This question I asked is very relevant to, let me try that again, relevant to
Relevant.
my clients.
My hands are dirty.
People I've worked with in the past. Question for you, Jimbo.
Hit me, bro.
When I get unwell, I lose all motivation. Everything goes out the window and it's hard to get back into it. Now, what do I do?
When you're unwell, yes. Very, very, very common. I've even struggled with this in the past.
Massively.
You know, you feel like you've almost fallen off the wagon, which, the first thing, make sure you're not a wagon person or change your wagon to make it slightly more achievable and easier to get back on.
What is a wagon?
But what is a wagon? Who knows what a wagon is?
Why is it a wagon?
It's a strange, I don't know anybody that's really,
has a
who gets around in a wagon anymore.
Yeah, literally.
Weird, they should update those terms. Must have been there for hundreds of years.
At least, yeah, get off the wagon. I'm like, yeah, in the 1800s. probably.
I was never on a wagon. So I think I might've been on a wagon once in my life. Anyway, so you were sick, you get sick. And then when you get sick, you lose your motivation.
Plummeted, yeah.
Yep. And then you find it hard to get back on after being sick.
Correct.
Specifically sick. Okay. If that is your problem, initially, I'm going to assume that your baseline foundational habits and lifestyle isn't set in stone or isn't in a place where it's a non-negotiable. So first things first, we've got to make sure that the habits that are going to get you to the result you want to get, even long-term, it doesn't need to be immediate. Your habits that you have in your life, your foundational habits are there to stay and they are non-negotiable. All right. That way, if you do have hiccups, you do have speed bumps, you do have, things come up in your life where it does throw you out, you can actually go straight back to what you were doing because it's non-negotiable. When you're sick, Daniel, if you're sick, do you stop brushing your teeth?
Yeah.
That's fucking disgusting. So don't be like Dan. I'm assuming that if you're sick, you're going to continue to brush your teeth.
I do brush my teeth.
I can tell you have a very pearly smile. I'm assuming you still brush your teeth. Why is that?
Because I don't want to get disgusting teeth.
Correct. But why do you want a disgusting body with low energy, low libido, and hating your life? People don't talk about this, right? Not you. Brushing your teeth is a non-negotiable, and it's only because we've done it our whole fucking life. We've done it long enough so that it is a non-negotiable, and we hate going to the dentist. If you hate going to the doctor in fucking 5, 10, 15 years, because you have all these health issues, then we need to create non-negotiable habits around health, around fitness, around movement, around eating, all those sort of things. So first step, you need to raise your baseline to a point where you will still, even if it's slow, you will still get the results that you're after.
Yeah.
Be it health, be it fitness, whatever it is. From there, make sure that goal that you're trying to achieve, make sure you're aligned with that and you are 100% certain why you actually want that. If you have a look back, have a little scroll back through the Split Shift pod, not on Spotify. It will be on Spotify.
One day.
One day, eventually. If you have a little scroll back, we did a big segment on, we might have even done, was it a 2-part episode? I don't know. We did an episode on why your why is so important.
Power of the why, baby.
The power of the why. So why that is so important to yourself, to your results, to your life. It's crucial for times like this, when you do get, when a spanner's thrown in the works and you lose your motivation, because motivation is an emotion. You know, if you're happy, you're not going to be happy forever. If you're sad, it's temporary as well, as is motivation. You're going to have little bursts of, you know, I feel really great. You're also going to have equal amounts of, I feel really shit. I don't want to do the thing. If you're aligned with why you actually want that result, you are so much more likely to get back to what you were doing, even if it is hard. You know, so if your why is, I want to lose 10 kilos because it'll make me happy, you're never going to fucking do it. Because what else? We can go back there. We spoke about this in that last chat. What else is going to make you happy?
Getting some takeaways drinks with mates,
100%.
lounging on the couch, watching your favorite TV show, heaps of shit.
Particularly if you're sick. If you're sick, the thing that's going to make you happy right now is laying down on the couch, smacking down some Cheerios and watching fucking Grey's Anatomy. Or something. I've actually never watched Grey's Anatomy, but I don't know why that's the first thing that came to my head.
I feel like that's really relevant with Grey's Anatomy, especially because I swear to God, every single one of my clients have been on a Grey's Anatomy marathon. There's like 22 seasons, by the way.
That is insane.
And I haven't watched one season.
I love that. I love that. But yes, if your why is I want to be happy, you're going to always revert back to that instant, immediate gratification, which is going to be given to you by the things that are going to make you happy in those moments when you are feeling low, in those moments of weakness.
Nice.
Okay? And then last but not least, I'm going to say, now is the time. If you're feeling okay now, if you're not sick, now is the time, not when you're sick again, now is the time to make a plan for next time you're sick.
Yep.
Because you will most definitely be sick again. It is inevitable. You're never going to run away from that. You're going to be sick. So now what you need to do is analyze exactly what happened, figure out, why did I lose my motivation? Okay, I was sick. What did I do? What could I do differently next time? And if I ask somebody this question, the answer is always, I just got to get back on the wagon straight away. It's like, it's not that fucking simple. Otherwise you would have done it.
Yes.
You would have done it.
I just got to get back into it.
Yeah, I just got to get straight back into it. It's like, okay, cool.
What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah. How many times have you done this? How many times have you been sick and not got back into it? There's a fucking reason. Align your why. Make sure you know exactly where you're going. Make sure you know exactly why you're doing it. Yeah. But then make it ridiculously easy for yourself. Make a small commitment. Be like, okay, if I'm sick and I'm feeling down, I don't need to necessarily go straight from my fucking 4 gym sessions a week when I'm feeling like shit. All I need to do is just make sure, as a fucking minimum, I track my food. Or as a minimum, I get out for 5 minutes for a little walk. Just so that is still a priority in my head. So that way you're not getting back to, you know, peak your peak state performance, going to the gym all the time, training really hard, you know, fucking eating chicken and salad or whatever it is.
Yes.
You're not having to go back to fucking ideals. You can actually just be like, okay, cool. All I need to do is X. All I need to do is get out of fucking bed and go for a walk. And that is a non-negotiable commitment for when I'm sick. Yep. So next time that happens, you go in with a plan. So you're not running blind. Because if you're running blind, you're going to be a victim to your unmotivated, sad, sappy, shitty self. All right? And we all have those days.
Yeah.
Regardless of how good you are, regardless of how long you've been doing it, we all have those days. So lower the bar and prepare for next time that happens. Because it is definitely going to happen again.
Fail to plan to fail, right?
1,000,000%.
That's good. That's real.
I think that's all I have to say.
That's really nice. Dude, you nailed that so well. It's so important to reflect on the power of the why. That was I didn't miss what you said.
Doesn't matter, bro. Spotify will hear it.
Spotify will get it.
It was a bit gay. We need to get a little bit.
We need to get a little
bit frisky, at least in each session.
Yeah, we're getting a little
each session.
Yeah.
You call these sessions?
It's pretty much a session. It's a non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable.
No, it's really you've nailed everything. I think the steps are really important. I think relating back to your why is a massive component. My clients, man, how much do we? They'll be listening to this and they will understand. I'm like, how much do we drill the why of like how it's so important and how you have to break that surface level of just like I want to look good, feel good. Yeah, that's awesome. There's so many other things that are immediately gratifying. That's gonna most likely take its place. So you got to go into the deeper levels of why. If you haven't watched the Power of the Why episodes, man, do yourself a favor. It's really good. We help to navigate out of how to actually find your why effectively as well. I like how you're really looking at small commitments. I think that's the biggest thing is that when people are sick and they're exhausted, they think they just have to go to what they were doing before.
Yes.
But remember, you're in a suboptimal state. You got to think also almost like as if you're suboptimally and not feel bad about it too, because it's like you're gonna be like flogging. You'll be like, what is it? What's the quote? Flogging a dead horse. Is that the quote?
Man, I have no idea where you're going with this, but I have never flogged a dead horse in my life. Is that from that wagon?
It's pretty much that.
So Dan's
That's
wagon, the reason his wagon's not moving is because he flogged the fuck out. The horse is dead. The horse is dead, and you're wondering why the wagon's not moving.
That's my point. You're flogging a dead horse. It's not.
No wonder your wagon's fucked. Anyway.
So ultimately, you're thinking about how do you get back to what you were doing before, but it seems way too far reaching because you were in an optimal state. So you have to think of like, how can you think more suboptimally to get the momentum rolling again. Now, the biggest thing, something that I always talk to my clients about and let them know, especially even when I get sick, sometimes I even get caught in the trap. I'm just like, I'm slowly getting better. I just got to get back into it. And, I'll be sweet. But chances are that it can actually prolong your recovery even more. So change your perspective initially on, you were sick. You have to rest. You have to prioritize your rest and recovery. So just focus on your water intake. Things that's like just well in your control and that's really simple and easy. Nutrients, nutrient-dense foods, your water, getting a bit more sunlight, stuff like that. As you're starting to get better, you're starting to get out of it. If you're not like bedridden or, like couch-ridden, whatever, and you can start moving again, the quicker you can get those cogs turning again is going to be better. So, start off like exactly right. Just start off with what you said. Start off with small commitments, small changes that you can just get that momentum rolling again. Again, you're not looking at finding the optimal state of getting back to all your gym sessions, stuff like that. It's a little too far reaching right now. Remember, if you get a week off, so like it's a philosophy that I always, what I mentioned with my clients is that if you get a week off being sick, expect at least double that to get back to where you were at a good state. Because like the first week after when you're sick, man, like how shit does your training feel? Your appetite's getting better slightly. You know what I mean? It's only things are starting to get better a little bit the week after. And then the next week after that, pretty good there. So start with the small commitments, making those small changes, ideally. Again, what you said was really good was the non-negotiables. It is so true that if you don't have set non-negotiables or a plan to follow through, especially once you get out of it, you're going to fall back to that victim mentality. I'm just like, everything's too hard. I feel really shit. Can't get back on the horse and all that stuff with the horse.
That flogged horse.
That fucked horse.
Can't get back to flogging my horse.
I'm never going to say that ever again.
It's a great saying. It doesn't make a lot of sense,
podcast.
but yeah, some things just don't fly on the split shift.
No, it's a little. Anyway, people get it.
Too close to home.
So control what you can control, definitely. Following with that question again, let me just keep going with this. So you lose all motivation. Yes, we know that motivation is very short-lived and it's only reliant on when we're feeling good. And when you're not feeling good, there's going to be some things that's going to be way more immediately gratifying. It's going to take its place. And how much better does it feel? Like, does it sound? Still getting better. And I'm just going to eat some packets of chips on the couch, watching my favorite show, then starting to get into the gym session or something like that. Obviously, that's going to be way better. But then, you relate it back to, like Jimbo said, your why. What's your reason why? And I think where you can really enhance your why with this one too is ask yourself, is this how you'd want to, ultimately, is this how you want to keep going? Because how much longer are you going to say, it's like, I need to get better, before it becomes like a genuine excuse. You're just like, okay, now I'm delaying it.
Yes.
And then when it starts to become a pattern, oh no, it started. So when it becomes a pattern, thank you. When it becomes a pattern, and it can slowly turn into a habit, and that's where all of a sudden, like down the track, they're like, oh my God, I was sick and I just couldn't get back into it. All that stuff because of this flow effect. So just start small, break those commitments down, and just go for like, what's the first step? What's the first step, especially that aligns with my goals? Again, what you said, walking is really good. Cut your gym sessions down. You don't have to do 4 to 5. You can do 2 to 3. You can actually reduce the duration. Showing up in itself is a win in itself. That's something I always talk to my clients is that especially if you're not feeling good or you're just having a really bad day or you're just recovering, change that perspective to say, just showing up is going to be good enough for me because at least you're keeping that habit alive. You know, you're showing that you are committed to the cause. It's not going to be perfect. You're not going to be feeling good. The session's probably going to be shit. And that's fine. But you still showed up anyway. And that's the most important thing. So there's not really much else I can really add on to what you're saying because you pretty much covered it really well. Again, it just goes back to those low-hanging fruits. I've definitely spoken about this in a bunch of the podcast episodes is just find what's suboptimal and just go for that realistic approach of what is that first small step. Because if you fail to plan, you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
You plan to fail, you fail to plan.
And you plan to plan.
You plan to the horse, you're flogging a horse, and you've flogged your plan.
And you failed a wagon.
Your wagon
is wagon.
You're flogging a wagon, and you're planning to fail.
And your wagon is planning.
Wagon wheels.
Wagon. Don't.
I only eat them when I'm sick.
Wait, what is actually when you're sick, what is your go-to?
I don't have one, man. Everything.
Everything.
All of it. I wouldn't discriminate being sick. I eat a lot of shit all the time.
Dude, I don't know why. When I get sick, from Wollongong, you'll get it. Chico's. Badly.
Oh, Chico's is an all the time thing though.
No, but like
I would say
when you get smacked down a burger, nothing hits better.
I would say, yeah, that's true. If it's nighttime, definitely some sort of Mexican like nachos. That sort of shit.
Comment down your favorite sick food.
Yeah, yeah. And then just disregard everything we just fucking said. So how about that? Anyway. But no, I think all those things super relevant. And just one thing that I, always say, I always say all the things all the time, apparently. 9 times out of 10, I say this all the time. People don't get a result. People don't get good results. People don't get lasting results by how good their their Scratch, cut that, let's start that again. All right, so what I say to my clients, people that have lasting results and even good results, lasting results, whatever you want to call it, people don't get lasting results because they have really good days.
Yes.
It's because they have okay or good shit days.
Yes.
You're not going to get a result depending on how good your good day is. It's about how good your shit day is. If your shit day is down here and your good day is fucking amazing, you're going nowhere. Whereas if you keep the good day even half as good, but you bring the shit day up to okay, you're going to be winning.
So true. It's a James Clear quote, right? It's like you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So you go back to, I'm like, what is your baseline? What is your standard? What is those things on and ultimately what is absolutely realistic for you to do on your shit days?
Yes.
No matter fucking what. I think what you said really well there is that it reminds me of regressing back to the mean. You got really good days, you got really shit days, but what does it actually average out back to again? So you're going to have maybe 1 out of 5 really awesome days, but you're going to have 4 out of 5 really shit days. Well, your average is going to be quite fucking shit. But if you get 1 really good day and then maybe 3, I would just say 4 average day, like okay days, well, that's going to average out a lot better. And then it's going to improve overall. Something that we always talk about as well is that with baselines change naturally over time. And if you're looking at the grand scheme of your lifestyle, your journey, through the vehicle of fitness and health forever, ideally, until you reflect back and just say, where's my baseline has changed over time? If you just kept going, I think I really underestimates good days, bad days, but if you just kept going, you really realize fuck, my baseline has changed so much. And what I mean by baseline is just this is just shit that's just normal for you. Just like brushing your teeth. It's just like showering. you know, those non-negotiables is that just changed over time naturally. And like, you know, it gets to a point where I know I'm seeing with my clients, especially in particular, is that what they did 2 years ago to now, they're just like, oh, I would never have thought I would have done this 2 years later, but this is just normal life for me.
Yes.
They just kept doing it. You know what I mean?
100%.
But it goes back to like people on the flip side of that same coin is that what they're, you know, not succeeding in their results or whatever it may be, that's just normal for them too. So it's just breaking out of that cycle ultimately.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like those weight loss challenges, right? Like they could be your good days. You could have those periods where you're fucking peaking, you know, but if you look at somebody you look up to in life in general, when let's say, assuming the realm of you respect their health and fitness levels, you respect their, you know, habits, all that sort of stuff. They didn't get there because they had heaps of really fucking good days. It's somebody's result long term is based off what their non-negotiables are day to day. Even if it's fuck all, like as long as their non-negotiables are better than, or their baseline's here and they're not going back to nothing when they're sick, they're not going back to nothing when they are fucking just having a shit day at work, they're not going back to nothing when the kids are riding them up the wall. Yeah. As long as they have those non-negotiables, they will always overtake everybody that has the best good days. Anyway, let's go to the next question.
Yeah, that was good. I think we've covered that. Well, hope you liked that one.
Let's do it.
Also, genuinely, let us know what your favorite sick foods are.
Yeah.
Because we're all human, right?
Very curious. Also, Toblerone.
Nice.
Like,
I was actually gonna guess that.
Like but that's again, it's not a sick food. That's just my number one everything.
It's like a sick food.
It's a fucking sick food.
It's a fucking sick food.
It's extreme. Like as far as, you know, we're talking volume for calories, horrible. In each peak, it's almost 200 calories. It's like 180 calories in a peak. It's insane.
That's fucking awesome.
It's like almost half a block of fucking, anyway, whatever. So, my turn. Daniel.
Jimbo.
I've been really busy at work and been feeling very overwhelmed lately. Okay. I haven't been training and been getting more takeaway. I want to change but struggle to get back into it. What do I do?
Nice. Overwhelming. Okay, the overwhelmed. Similar to the last question. But overwhelm. Epic. Good question. All right.
Thank you.
Now, to break that down is, okay, you're overwhelmed with work. And that's been causing you to fall into some sort of sabotage habits. You're eating more takeaway, and then you're struggling to keep going. Is that what it is?
Yes. So I just haven't been training at all.
Okay. So just
since I've been overwhelmed.
Okay.
I've been getting more takeaway, which isn't, you know, the lifestyle that I want to lead. You know, first of all, expensive. Yeah. Second of all, you know, I want to fucking get my shit together with my food.
Yeah.
I want to change it, so I stop doing that every time I'm overwhelmed.
Yes,
but I just struggle.
Okay, all right. Let's address first off. What we want to do is that before we can start to make action and start to create the steps to move forward, we've got to address the things that's overwhelming us. Of course, it's work, but as long as we're acknowledging that we're overwhelmed and we're just in this state of mind. I know when I'm overwhelmed or I'm like fucking stressed up the wall. It's obviously don't think that clearly. Like you don't think, you know, everything just feels way more heightened. You know, some people may feel overstimulated, all that type of stuff. And this just may fall back to the path of least resistance. So just like, and which in this case would be like, just get more takeaway because it's easier.
Yes.
Not going to the gym because it's easier because I'm overwhelmed. Now, addressing that as, yes, you are overwhelmed, but also taking that power back to you by saying, okay, not let it become an excuse. I think that's really important to start there. And the reason why we do that, like we said, is you're going to bring that power back to you again. Again, you're overwhelmed, of course, but just acknowledge it. As long as you're acknowledging that you're in this state, at least you can be able to start creating change from there. Because sometimes I think when you're in an overwhelmed state, and I think what a lot of people can do, and I've been there before as well, is that I'm overwhelmed and I'm just like, oh, I just got to do this now. But then I'm just like, you're feeling even worse because it just like now it just feels like you're toppling more shit on top of your plates, and that just crumbles even more. So I'll just say assess like a strategy on how to reduce that overwhelming feeling. If it's work, ultimately, you know, it's within your workplace. Ultimately, if you can take that away from your daily life, that would be beneficial. I think what you can do from there is to address the habits once you've acknowledged it is start making it really fucking simple. So this is a strategy that I learned from, this was a mate of mine, and he did a psychology degree, and I thought it was such good info, is that break down the steps, like the absolute first small tiny, it's like similar to the last question, the tiny steps that you're just gonna do. And I'm not joking. I'm like, it's not like me going to the gym. Like I'm talking, break it down even more to it's like what is like literally the left foot, right foot shit. So if you're feeling overwhelmed and you just want to go for a walk, bring it back down by thinking of like, okay, what do I need to do now? Like I'm finished work, but I know I need to go for a walk, or I need to go to the gym. Let's say we use an example, I need to go to the gym. Start off by saying, okay, what do I need to do first? Like I'm gonna walk to my car. Okay. What's the next step after that? I'm gonna open the car, turn the engine on. Okay. What's the next step after that? I'm gonna drive to the gym. Okay. What's the next step after that? And what we're doing is that you're making these really, really bite-sized approaches to make like what seems like overwhelming, because there's a lot of friction when you're overwhelmed, right? So there is just like, when you know you have targets and shit that you got to do, it feels very far-reaching. It feels there's like a lot of friction. But until we start to actually break down, I'm like, do this, and then next thing. It sounds really trivial if you say it out loud, but if you're honestly in that kind of state of mind, I'm like, it feels way more at ease, because I'm like, oh, well, I can turn the engine on. I can drive to the gym. I can get out of my car. I can put my clothes on in the dressing room, whatever, and I can do my first set. Like, ultimately, breaking that down is like finding really, really effective. I know I'm going a little off tangent for what I'm about to say, but even people that are feeling really just generally unhappy, overwhelmed, or feeling a little depressed, I think this one really helps well, because you get that overwhelming feeling, you're cooked, and if you're feeling unhappy and you just have low just energy or drive to want to do anything, just start with the first tiny step. Just focus on that small little thing there.
Hell yeah.
What I find really effective with this one is that changing our perspective on our goal targets as well. When we're feeling overwhelmed, and this is where I'd like to, you can describe as your goals as objective and then subjective. And we've spoken about this before as well, is that objective is data and logic and numbers, right? If you're focusing on a goal journey, or, your training and all that stuff, you've got to work with numbers, because as we know, what you can measure, you can improve.
Flog a horse. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Sorry.
Yeah, what you can measure, you can flog a horse. No, you can improve. But also when we're in the state of minds, it doesn't give us the. You're still laughing at it?
Sorry.
Do you need a second?
No, I'm okay. You go.
You can let it out, man.
Just go. You gotta go. Someone just started crying. This poor horse. He's fucked up. He wants to pull his wagon, man. Sorry, keep going, man. Keep going. You're doing well.
All right, man. So where was I? Fuck. That's it. Changing from objective to subjective.
Yes.
So goal targets is not really motivating to get done. So if you change your goals from, this is a fucking train wreck of an episode.
I'm liking it. I like where this is going.
So if we change it to something that's more relevant to what you need, that actually makes it more motivating to want to actually get the task done. So back to the gym session, instead of like, I have to go to the gym, say I need to go to the gym because it's going to clear my head, it's going to de-stress me, and I'm just going to and it's going to make me feel better. Or if you need to go for your walk to get your steps up, change the approach to thinking like, I'm going to go for a walk so it's daylight savings right now, so I'm going to go for a walk after work near the beach or near where I'm at, get some sun and listen to my favorite podcast.
This is the one.
Yep. And sounds way better. It just sounds way more attractive to get done. So
yes,
like kind of aligning of like, okay, what do I actually need? But you're still doing the stuff. You're just aligning it with what you need at the time. And this is how we dabble between objective and subjective. Objective is concrete evidence. Shit's going to get you moving forward. But subjective is the human side of goal journeys that I think a lot of people, especially if we're in a state of mind, we're feeling like really overwhelmed or feeling really shit, we kind of forget about it and just like bring it back to them, like, what do you need from this? Because ultimately is that when you're focusing on a fitness and health journey, it's not just about targets. I think people spend too much time on getting the target or getting the arbitrary step count and all that stuff. That's cool, don't get me wrong. But what we ultimately do this for is to create a better life, to create a better lifestyle, to more vitality, more energy, to reduce those stresses, to reduce that overwhelming feeling, using it as like a coping mechanism to give us, to get us back to baseline. That's kind of the most old address with that one, I feel, is most likely just dealing with the overwhelming feeling and let things unravel more, a little bit more bite-sized. And because generally, like if you're at a normal baseline, I'm assuming with this person, they can actually do their stuff. It's just because they're not doing it, it's because they're overwhelmed. So they first have to address the overwhelming feeling. What's your take?
I think you've covered the majority of it. Like if somebody was to want to get a result, they were busy at work. And what was the rest of the question? We said, been really busy at work, been feeling overwhelmed, haven't been back to training, getting more takeaway. I want to change, but struggle to get back into it. If people did just those things, they would already be very, very far along and they'd be progressing amazingly because we all have bad days. We all get overwhelmed. We all get sick from time to time.
Yes.
Those things are inevitable. Yes. So it's about how do we actually deal with them when they come up, not if they come up, but when. So first thing, we need to make sure that we actually treat it like a when and not an if. Because I feel like everybody just thinks they're never going to get sick again. So they always come back to nothing. They always go back to takeaway instead of whatever they wanted to do. They always go back to doing no exercise, laying on the couch, instead of, having non-negotiable habits that they can just continue to move them forward in some positive way, even if it's not necessarily their ideal goals or their ideal habits that they want to have day to day in their life.
Nice.
So what I would say is the question was, I struggle to get back to it. First of all, I want you to redefine it. So that goes into what Dan was saying and what I was saying in the first question. Change what the it is. What is it? We're talking about that wagon. We're talking about flogging horses. I think they don't really align, but what is your wagon? Change your wagon. Make sure you have that. Okay, when I'm really good, I can do X, Y, Z. If I'm having a shit day, this is what I do as a bare ass minimum. All right? Just leave it. Just leave it. Just leave it.
Sorry.
No more horses. If I'm having a shit day, I can do, X, at least X. That's my bare ass minimum. At least I take care of my food. At least I take care of this. If I'm super overwhelmed, I can at least, choose this from the takeaway place that I'm going to, instead of throwing everything out the window.
Yeah.
Understand that it's all temporary.
Yes.
Okay. What the question was really based around was overwhelm. So the first thing I want you to do is deal with the overwhelm head on. And we spoke about this might have been maybe 2 episodes ago when we were speaking about burnout.
Yeah.
And how I mentioned that one of the main causes of burnout that I've noticed with people, again, everything we really speak about is based on our own experiences with people. We're not saying we fucking know everything. It's about what we've dealt with everyday people for the past 16 years. What I've noticed with people that are burning out is due to overwhelm. And typically it's a lot of mental overwhelm, So it's about how do you actually deal with that? So when somebody is feeling overwhelmed, the first thing I'll ever get them to do is write everything down on a piece of paper. Segment your life up into the different areas, go through your health area of your life, your family, your friends, your relationships, your social, your own hobbies and commitments outside of work. Write down in dot point form what the problems are in those areas and what your non-negotiables are that you need to show up for in those areas. Because if you're overwhelmed, likely you have to show up for multiple things in different areas of your life. Once you write them down, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be as overwhelming as it seems in your head, because that's now out of your head on paper and you can read it for what it actually is And it may be hectic. And if it is hectic, then just make sure you're just ticking those things off that list and dealing with the overwhelm. But at least it's not in your head, unmanaged, because that's when that fucking whirlwind happens and everything that's not a complete priority to you goes out the window, you know? And the first thing to go typically is somebody taking care of themselves, which is their health and their fitness.
Always,
you know,
always.
Their food, their training, their exercise, their movement, their sleep patterns, you know, their all that sort of stuff. They're the first things to be swept under the covers. And that's fair, you know? So one thing that I've been doing with my clients over the last couple of years, I really haven't been doing it for that long. I've changed my approach to how I get people to deal with their priorities. And typically back in the day when I was a new PT, I was like, you just got to prioritize it. You just got to make sure it's your top priority and you make it a non-negotiable, like we were saying, and you got to make sure it's a priority. If you have kids, or if you have a high stress job or whatever, trying to make your own health and fitness a priority above those things is unrealistic. Instead, the approach I want you to take is relate those things to your actual priorities. So find out what your values are. So if your top values are, I need to show up for my kids. I want to perform at work for whatever reason.
Yep.
They're my top values. Relate your health and fitness to, and your goals around that, and your habits around that, relate them to those areas. Relate them to, okay, so I'm going for my walks. I'm going to be eating well. I'm going to get my health and fitness together. How is that going to improve my relationship with my kids? How am I going to be able to show up for my kids better? How am I going to be able to show up at work better? Those sort of things are going to actually, instead of necessarily making it a priority above the other things that you actually give a fuck about, and you're just saying, no, my health and fitness is my priority. Oh no, I've got to take care of myself. It's like, why am I doing that? You know, it brings up your health and fitness in your priority scale, I guess, to be aligned with instead of separate from your kids, your family, your work, the things that you actually give a fuck about. You know, saying that you need to give a fuck about your health and fitness above everything else is just never going to happen. You know, maybe it will. If you're a personal trainer, we got to show up for ourselves so we actually can show up for our clients, because we know that we see the benefits of that every single day. We are lucky enough to be able to see how much prioritizing health and fitness, what benefit that has on our lives, on every single client we have, their lives. So we get to see it. So in our mind, we're like, of course you fucking prioritize this because it's going to benefit every other area of your life.
Sure.
Whereas for somebody that doesn't work in this industry, you don't get to see that every day, you know, unless you do have friends that, you know, you can see the contrast with the people that do prioritize this stuff and don't. You'll be able to see that immediate contrast. This person has way more energy. They have more vitality. They're fucking 60 years old and they're still having sex with their partner. Insane. You know, things like that. Well, you want that life. How do you actually make a lifestyle based around that sort of stuff? So first deal with your overwhelm and then make sure that your priorities are aligned with the things you actually value. So make sure that the things that you want to prioritize are aligning with your values, aligning with the things that you actually give a fuck about. That's all that change, really.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
I love that so much. It's so good when you're aligning, because ultimately, like, I think that's what people do wrong, is that it's a separate entity.
Yes.
Where like you're integrating your fitness and health into your lifestyle, not the other way around. You're not turning into a fitness freak. And I think that's what people try to do, is that they need to flip their whole lifestyle and think, I need to be this person. And I'm like, no, you are shifting all these changes, this new vehicle, you know, like we spoke about, I think you mentioned last episode, is you're opening up a new room in your life.
Yes.
You're just integrating that into your lifestyle now. So, and then I think like what you said so well is that aligning that with your core values of like family, work, kids, and stuff like that. Because ultimately 100% does benefit it all. Like it's awesome. When it becomes overwhelming or too destructive, because it can be, like, a lot of time people will be on this side, but if you're over too much on that side, where it's like a little obsessive, it's too much in there, so you saw mad results and you're just it's tipped the scale too much on the other side. That's also can be a problematic thing too. So you have to weigh out how it's going to benefit you, it's going to benefit the other areas in your life, and it's not becomes self-destructive, because being something that's really good can also be a detriment as well, if it's too many doses as well. You know what I mean?
Yes, you don't want to flog a dead horse, so they say.
Don't flog a dead
You
horse.
know,
I'm gonna look this up to make sure that's a
it's a saying, but I just don't know. Like, yeah, it's like the wagon thing. I just don't think it. I don't think it's fucking very good. You know, like who comes across a dead horse? Like, I guess if you work on a farm, and why would you want to flog it?
Yeah,
You know, it would be.
to waste time and effort trying to do something that isn't possible.
It's very true. And I do think that at the end of the day, everything that we really speak about comes down to self-awareness. Yeah. So if you can be aware enough of yourself, what you're thinking and what you actually want, zoom out a little bit and have a look at what you actually want your life to look like, what your life does look like currently, and be like, that'll stop that sort of shit where you're going too far over to one end of the spectrum. If you can actually zoom out, be like, what am I doing now? Is this serving the greater purpose that I actually want in my life? You know, if you can actually just be self-aware and start asking yourself more questions, you'll save so many fucking issues and you will never need to watch our podcast again.
We always relate it back to the ideal version of self. That's something we always speak about. And the ideal version of self, it's not just about your ideal version in the gym or what you're lifting and all that stuff.
No.
It's or how you look. Don't get me wrong, that's one slice of the pie, but your ideal version of self is how you show up to everything in your life at different stages of life as well. If you're young in your 20s, how you're showing up to be better studying at university, or if you're a parent, you're showing up for your kids and your full-time job and you've got a mortgage and stuff like that. Or like all these things are, it's relevant for all stages of life, but you're aligning it with that ideal version of self through that fitness vehicle we always talk about. But anyway.
100%.
Nice.
Well, we got 2 moves in for the chess game. And we are going to keep this chess game, and hopefully by maybe 30 episodes later, we'll actually finish a chess game for once.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe actually, mate. Yeah.
Do you want to do one more quick move before we wrap this up?
I guess so.
Okay, that was pawn to bishop 3 or something. And this is going over, actually. No, we'll just fucking do it. Can I do that? Yeah, hell yeah.
Of course.
All right, we're on here. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Hope you learned a lot. Do you want to do the little fucking Spotify thing?
Yeah, follow us on Spotify. Follow us on Instagram, where you're going to be the snippet of the reels as well. If you'd like to subscribe to the YouTube channel, we want to raise more awareness for this type of stuff, the unanswered question, these big pebbles, as we would like to say, where we could change your life. So like, subscribe, give us 5 stars on Spotify. That'd be awesome. Anything below that, never watch our Spotify again.
Yeah. And we're only getting better. So next week's going to be even better than this. Even better. So it's like an investment. You subscribe now, 5 episodes later, you still remember us because we keep popping up on your thing.
No dead horses here.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week.
Hell yeah.